Not that long ago, the Western medicine discovered the secrets of nasal cycles. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about the nasal cycles and why is it important and if there is anything that we can do about our nasal cycles. And the answer to that question is all yes. Consider this experiment. Just shut one nostril, shut the other one at a time, and you will notice that you are breathing through one nostril more freely than the other. You can do the same experiment by holding a small mirror under your nostrils, and you will see one gets more clouded than the other one, which tells us which nostril is dominant. So what you have just discovered is the nasal cycles. Now, most people, most of the time, are unaware of their nasal cycles. In Europe, for example, Robert Kaiser, a German physiologist, discovered in 1895 what nasal cycles are. He actually described it in an article, and that was the first time that Western medicine ever discovered the nasal cycles. Now, contrast that with what's happening in India. We have known about nasal cycles at least 500 years prior to that. And probably a lot longer, but documented evidence comes from at least 1450, where things are written down about nasal cycles. Now, how large are the nasal cycles, or how far these flows and ebbs go? Here's a picture of the volume of airflow at the top that gives you the scale there is in minutes. So this is 800 minutes, or slightly less than 800 minutes, or 12 hours. And this is the amount of airflow that happens through both of our nostrils. And you can see the blue line is the left nostril airflow. The red one or the yellow one is the right nostril airflow. And as you will notice that when one is high, the other is low, and vice versa. And that's precisely the cycle. One goes more while other goes less. Rarely do we see more, both of them are at their full volume. And this is one incredible thing that body does all the time naturally, and we don't pay any attention to it at all. This particular one is actually my own nasal cycle that has actually been measured over a period of 12 hours. So how do we actually measure that? It's measured with an instrument that you can see to the left of that. It doesn't actually measure the airflow itself. It measures the voltage of electricity that it produces, and thereby indirectly measures the volume of air. So the thing that on the picture on the left looks kind of like a thing that you wear for breathing oxygen and so on. It's not quite the same thing, because those kinds of apparatus actually have both of them open at the same time through both nostrils. This one is one at a time only. So both of them are separated by the two things. You can't see that because it's plastic. Now, what exactly controls the nasal cycles? We know that it is controlled by the hypothalamus. It's one of our endocrine glands. And hypothalamus controls a whole bunch of other autonomous nervous systems, including that of the nasal cycles. How do we know that? Because when hypothalamus gets destroyed because of a disease or accident, we see that nasal cycles go haywire. And that's how we know. Now, it regulates all kinds of involuntary physiological processes that we cannot even begin to imagine. We have discovered a bunch of them, but there's a whole bunch of other things that are yet to be discovered. So, for example, our blood pressure, our heart rate, our respiration, our digestive system, our sexual arousal, they are all going through these nasal cycles. They're all connected to the nasal cycles. We still don't understand exactly how on all of them. I'm just going to illustrate it with one example. So here is a paper that was published last year, late last year, What you're looking at, each round thing is the head of a person. You can kind of see the nose at the top. So that's the nose on the top and two ears on the sides. And it tells you how the different alpha, beta, gamma, delta waves are operating inside the brain by hooking up with an EEG through the head to see which ones are dominating and so on. So what I want you to concentrate on is what happens on the bottom right hand side where it says the beta waves. So what happens when you are breathing more through your right nostril? Your beta wave dominates. So why is that relevant? This is why that matters. We know that our beta waves are critical for making executive decisions, and that has been demonstrated over and over and over again. Here's a small example. When people are given tests and their nostril breathing is monitored, you see that they're making more errors if their left nostril is dominant. And that is one incredible thing. So when you are in a decision-making process, you want to have your right nostril breathing through more. Now, the question is, can we? Can we actually control them? The answer is yes. And that's the key. By forcing it, you can hold one nostril and breathing through the other. You can actually force your breathing through one nostril versus the other. You can do the same sort of thing by holding a pillow under one arm and forcing the breathing through the other nostril. That's another method. Now, these things work, and you can gradually work your level one at a time. Eventually, you get to a mind control where you can control your breathing through your nostril by simply wishing it. So that becomes the key. And when we say the nasal control or nasal cycles are control of your mind, that's what we mean. Now, the state of well-being is connected to these nasal cycles. So, for example, when we have cough, cold, fever, most of the time, if you pay attention, you will see that you are breathing through your left nostril. So that comes as the key to your digestive system. After you eat, through which nostril are you breathing? If you're breathing through your right nostril, congratulations. You are on your way to digest whatever you have just eaten. It's agreeing with you. So the bottom line here is listen to your body and see how your nasal cycle can help you